No more plastic for the department. Resolution 283 of June 2022 establishes the implementation of Law 1973 of 2019, which regulates and prohibits the use, marketing, and entry of plastics for the Department of San Andres, Old Providence, and Santa Catalina.
The resolution issued by the Environmental Corporation CORALINA prohibits the entry, commercialization, and use of plastics for the disposal and transportation of objects and merchandise in commercial establishments in the Department of San Andres, Old Providence, and Santa Catalina, and also prohibits the use of plastic, plates, straws, and cups. Commercial ships arriving in the department may not use plastic bags for the final disposal of garbage and must carry out the final disposal of waste when arriving at a port on the mainland. It also prohibits the use of decorative balloons in touristic areas in marine and coastal areas of the island territory. This measure includes all beaches and strategic ecosystems.
Teleislas News learned that the Islanders' lawyer Juan Carlos Pumir, who served as Secretary of the Government Portfolio, presented yesterday his letter of resignation to the position. The reasons have not yet been disclosed so far. Pumir took office as head of this portfolio last May 28 in the Coral Palace. This would be the first resignation that occurs in the departmental cabinet after Governor-elect Everett Hawkins returned to office and changed all his secretaries as his first administrative act.
Strong statements are circulating through social media made by an inhabitant and marine biologist of our islands, pointing out that through the submarine emissary some environmental regulations are being violated.
Images of a submarine emissary and a strong criticism of what the author denounced to the entities of Veolia and Coralina, pointing out in a textual words that such waters had not been previously treated. The marine biologist and master in natural resources management, Francisco Ramos, explained the points of his public denouncement.
The submarine emissary is submerged at a depth of 18 meters, barely 300 meters from the coast, which is worrying given the condition in which the island sewage is discharged directly into the sea, taking into account that this water has no prior treatment. There is no treatment plant, not even a sedimentation plant to retain solids.
The citizen also indicated that they could be violating environmental regulations through the submarine emissary.
It seems to me that it is violating some norms of Decree 1594 of '84, which is regulated by another series of regulations, because in the same decree there are the provisions of water quality under the criteria of the context of use.
Finally, the biologist indicated that there is a possibility that the fish consumed on the islands could be contaminated.
The fact that these waters are discharged without any type of filter is worrying due to the number of heavy metals that could be found accumulate in the animal tissues, i.e. in the fish, which would eventually find their way into our plates.
At the time of this issue, neither Veolia, Water Archipielago, nor Coralina made any statement regarding the complaint. However, this news agency will be attentive for any statements from both entities.
And in the afternoon, the Secretary of Culture of the department made an inspection visit to the works that are being carried out at the Casa de la Cultura in Nerten.
During this visit, the Secretary of Culture said that the work is progressing well and stressed the importance of this space for the cultural development of the islands, as it will be the right place for locals and visitors to join the cultural exhibitions of our department.
Hello, my lovely people of San Andres, Providence, and St. Helens. Well, this is Secretary of Culture. Well, we are here supervising this important building because we definitely need one place like this where our children then can come and develop different type of cultural activities. So, well, as you all can see behind me, well, this is the cultural house. We are working hard that it can finish for the end of this year. So with the help of that, we expect also good climate so that, well, it cannot stop the workers to keep advanced towards it. So we are here in the name of the government of New Beginning, well, supervising and working hard for this important project.
The head of the portfolio emphasized that they hope that the weather will cooperate with the development of the works and that they plan to deliver these facilities at the end of the year.
And in other news, a meeting between national and departmental entities was held this morning with the objective of establishing strategies to improve mobility on the island.
The National Planning Department, Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Transportation, and the Departmental Secretariat of Mobility met at a working table to agree on strategies to optimize the transportation service on the island.
At this moment, we have a technical table in which we are addressing important issues, environmental issues, the issue of scrapping, and the disintegration of vehicles, taking into account that in San Andres, at this present moment, we have a precautionary measure. We are taking advantage of this issue. We also have the visit of the DMP, which is proposing a study that is being conducted for the implementation of environmental vehicles, both on the island of San Andres and on Old Providence. We also have the visit from the national level, the Ministry of Transportation and Traffic, for the issue of issuing licenses here on the island.
The head of the Mobility Office indicated that in the meeting 2 models of non-pollution alternative public transport for the island were presented. These will be 79 vehicles distributed between San Andres and Providence that will facilitate the mobility of the inhabitants. These models will be agreed with the community. On the other hand, the office will work for the issuance of license for the first time.
The license for the first time. We are waiting to consolidate an instructor who will come here to the island, where he will come to train some of the island's officials. One of the purposes of the Secretariat is that before the end of this year, 2021, approximately in 2 months, we will be able to issue a license for the first time, and that it will be a reality on the island, and we will be able to solve the problems we have at the moment.
The meeting also addressed other issues such as improvement of the department's road infrastructure.
A desalination plant arrived to Old Providence to supply drinking water for the island community thanks to the risk management unit. This will be used during the dredging of the reservoir.
A new desalination plant arrived from Mexico that will help supply the community while the dam is being dredged. Together with the Rotary Club's water treatment plant, it will produce 550,000 liters of water daily. This is what the Deputy Minister of Water said.
It is a plant that is not acquired. Let's say it is the rental of a plant. This was carried out by the National Unit for Risk Management. They also carried out the contracting process since it is still within the framework of the emergency, because it is also in function of avoiding and reducing the possibility of the island running out of water.
The plant will help to prepare the entire water service infrastructure in the municipality.
This plant will stay at least 6 months on the island while the dredging of the reservoir is being done, which is something that the national government made available, that in the minimum flow of rain to the reservoir, the dredging can be done, so that the filling during the raining season give us much more water, and the next year we will be able to have the necessary water so that the island does not suffer any type of shortage during the year.
The Vice Minister invited the people of Providence to become aware that in the future the water service will have a cost, but it will be a good service.
A good service 24/7 with potable water in their homes. If people do not recognize this as a value for the development of their children, as well as for the competitiveness of the island, to ensure the provision of good tourism services, that their quality of life would improve, if people do not relate the payment of our bill on all these benefits of Old Providence, will never be able to have a good drinking water service.
With this, the national government will guarantee a minimum of 65 liters per person in addition to supply to the needs of the reconstruction.
And the Comptroller General of the nation made a visit to the island in the framework of the special follow-up that the Comptroller's Office is carrying out on the reconstruction process.
Comptroller General Carlos Felipe Cordova was in Old Providence today. What was the purpose? To follow up on the reconstruction process.
Vamos a hacerle seguimiento a todo el esquema de reconstrucción.
We are going to follow up on the reconstruction scheme. Since November of last year, how the passage of Hurricane Iota affected more than 5,000 people who lived on this island. Therefore, from this point of view, the national government has allocated more than 400,000 million pesos for its reconstruction.
They sought to establish commitments in order to move forward faster. The table covered both housing and basic sanitation issues and other requirements that the municipality has.
To be able to establish what commitments can be reached, so that with the accompaniment of the General Comptroller of the Republic, we can move forward faster, not only in the delivery of the housing issue, but also of the basic sanitation solutions.
Finally, the commitments that were reached were 14 new houses for next week and 15 month by month. On the other hand, a subsidy will be delivered.
El subsidio de arrendamiento para que ellos,
A rental subsidy so that they can receive and can go to a place where they do not get wet, and from that point until they receive their housing, they can be completely dry.
Hello, here are the best sports of the islands. With the leadership of the specific command and the support of other entities, a sport underwater cleaning day will be held from July 27th through the 29th in the Westview sector. This initiative will be accompanied by the Guild of Sport Divers, who intend to keep the ocean or sea of the seven colors clean, seeking the protection of the marine environment so that these are in optimal condition to encourage sport tourism. We spoke with the port captain, Lieutenant Luis Landazabal.
La limpieza subacuática, como hemos llamado esta actividad.
The underwater cleanup, as we have called this activity, is supported by many government agencies and diving schools. For example, in this case, Sea Pride, Scuba, Trustbuster, and the local government. The activity has much support from the Navy. In this case, would be the SESIP and Coast Guard. With this type of activities, after last year's Hurricane Iota, which affected the island quite a lot, we want to clean up the site known as Westview, a site that was quite affected by it. We want to promote underwater tourism, diving, generate more cleanliness and awareness in the people of our seas and coasts here in the archipelago.
Another one that gave us information was Wilson Watt Perez.
Tratamos con todas las entidades, tanto privadas y...
We've tried with all the entities, both private and governmental, to work together for the ecological maritime development here in the island of San Andres.
The Navy will continue to be involved in this type of sport and cleaning activities that work for the environment and sport tourism in the archipelago, as stated by the interim port captain, Lieutenant Luis Landazabal. The boxing team is ready to represent the archipelago in future national competitions. With the help of coaches Nelson Manchego and Abel Arteaga, boxers who could represent the Insular Department in future national competitions of the Youth Federated Tournament are being prepared. This is what Nelson Manchego and Abel Arteaga said.
The expectation for these young people is the following. It is a National Youth Federated Championship. We have been preparing ourselves with high intensity to go to the city of Cucuta, seeking to obtain slots for a Central American, and why not to get some spots for national games with these young people. I believe that we are ready, just waiting for that voice of support from our Lord from above, the governor, our Secretary of Sports. These kids are ready to give their all to bring medals to San Andres. Right now, I am desperate because I am not seeing clearly the way for these youngsters to represent San Andres in this national tournament. In this national tournament that we have in the Department of Arauca, we have prepared the boys Sharnol Torres, Brainer Sandoval, Jainer Montenegro, and Dainer Mendoza, which we have in the city of Barranquilla, already prepared and hopefully with the favor of God, as we have always gone out and always bring good results. We hope that this wouldn't be the exception and we can bring home medals for the island of San Andres.
Anxious, ready, and desperate is this selection that could bring medals to the Insular Department, so said by the coaches.